Would you look at that? I am inspired by Marilyn Monroe, wearing a dress inspired by her, a replica, if you will, not destroying an iconic piece of history. Let's talk about it. Okay, so I had to get changed because this is a serious topic for a lot of Marilyn fans, and I'm sure a lot of Kim fans as well, and fans of just general fashion and history. So Kim Kardashian wore the famous Happy Birthday Mr. President dress that Marilyn wore, and it was custom made for her, her skin tone, the jewels, the fitting, everything. Marilyn wanted the dress to be something only Marilyn could wear. That's the actual quote. So a lot of people were upset that then Kim wore it. So one reason why this dress is so important to Marilyn fans, other than it was there to sing in front of the president for his 45th birthday, it was the last dress, well, the last thing we saw her in publicly before she died. So it's a lot of meaning behind that. We know at the time she was sick. That was when she was dealing with her contract and then ended up being fired purely for flying and singing to the president when she was too sick to go into work to act. So there's some happy memories with it of, oh look, isn't she lovely, this is a beautiful piece of history, but also a lot of darker stuff underneath it. So it's a complicated dress. Now it was privately owned for a while, and then it was auctioned off, and you know, people wanted it to last, you know, in the glass case and everything. I was lucky enough to see it once, and it's just gorgeous and it's fragile. So when Ripleys, believe it or not, museum bought it, they, you know, kept it, apparently in good condition, and then decided to let somebody else wear it. So it would always have said, and you know, the little tile next to it, worn by Marilyn Monroe on this date, and now forever it's going to be, and also Kim Kardashian. Which, no matter what your feelings about her, it's somebody else wearing Marilyn's iconic dress. So, you know. Now, one thing I have to say, I don't support body shaming at all. If people want to get body modification, whether that's piercings, tattoos, implants, whatever, you do you, babe. I hope that there's no body dysmorphia in there. If there is, then I hope you get the help you need. You know, so that's just where I'm at with that. And one thing I was really shocked with was a lot of apparent Marilyn fans attacking Kim Kardashian, calling her all sorts of names, really shaming her body, and in particular her butt. As you know, her waist was the same size as Marilyn. She managed to lose a lot of weight within 3 weeks to fit in it, but her butt was bigger. That's just the way things go, you know. I have the same bust as Marilyn, certainly not the same waist and butt measurement, so it's like, you know, people are different, you know. So people were really worried she was going to stretch it and all these things, and personally for me, I wanted it never to be worn again, and I know a lot of people felt that way. But the thing is, Marilyn wasn't materialistic. She wouldn't have cared. She was more at home wearing capris, you know, and the poochy dresses. So she probably wouldn't have cared. The only thing being that she asked the designer to make a dress only Marilyn could wear. And the thing is, like we said before, it was specifically the color of her skin tone to look like sort of the original naked dress, really. And it was made for her to look like it was sewn on her, you know. There's that myth that it was stitched in. She had a zip, but, you know, it was meant to look like this. And it was meant to be comfortable. You can clearly see that Marilyn is not wearing undergarments or anything underneath it. You can see her breasts, you can see her belly button. It's meant to be this smooth, you know, smooth in the way of like smooth skin, softness. You know, if you have a pudgy belly or droopy boobs or whatever, it was meant to show that. And Kim, having her Skims empire, she couldn't be seen to do that. You know, the whole body image is meant to be perfect, to be sucked in and everything, so she couldn't wear no undergarments in there, and you can clearly see the pointiness of her skims off the top of the bra in there, of where it ends mid-thigh, and it really ruined the look for me, I personally thought. And what I really would have loved, ignoring the fact that it wasn't for the theme, she thought of this as a theme the last time for the iconic American sort of theme, and she said, what's more iconic American than Marilyn? And yes, that is true, but this year it was the Gilded Age, which is in the 1800s, and Marilyn certainly wasn't that, so she just wore it because she could. So that's, you know, rubs me the wrong way a little bit in there. But also, if she wore a replica, it could have looked fantastic. One dyed specifically to her skin tone, so it would look like a naked dress, which we know a lot of the Kardashians and Jenners do enjoy a good naked dress. And, you know, they can make it with stretchier fabric so she could easily walk up the stairs. And Ripley's wouldn't allow her to alter it, which is fabulous. So because Marilyn was a few inches taller, Kim did have to wear the pleasers, the huge shoes, and there's not a lot. You can even see when Marilyn walks on stage to sing Happy Birthday, there's not a lot of space to walk. So you could clearly see that with Kim as well. But the fact that it didn't match her skin tone, it didn't fit her completely. I did love that because she couldn't end up zipping the back. She used a fur jacket like Marilyn had, and wearing it purely sort of more like a wrap to hide the zip. I thought that was quite clever. But I understand she wanted to make the dress the statement, so she didn't do a lot with her hair, jewelry, but it made the dress look bland. And to treat such an iconic part of history and make it look like a boring dress is really awful, you know. So if she wore a replica that was actually made for her, to suit for her, she could look fantastic, you know, and done a really good, honourable thing for Marilyn in that way, you know. But no, they decided to loan out a $5+ million dress, and it's kind of forever tainted in that way. And ignoring the fact of, you know, sweat and skin cells and things like that. Apparently Ripley's didn't allow her to wear like the body makeup that she usually would and things like that. So that's good. So hopefully the dress isn't damaged too much in that way. But the Ripleys people, if you see the video of her trying it on, and they're wearing gloves, so that's good, but they're pushing on the beads and pushing up, and you can hear the beads and see the beads popping off it. So immediately I think these people should not be in charge in such historical, fragile artifacts, and they clearly know nothing about vintage fabrics. So that was really upsetting to me, more than the fact of whoever wore it, just treat it with the respect it deserves, but also that it needs, you know, that yes, apparently there was some stretch, but not enough to go, you know. So really disappointed in the Ripleys people for that. And the fact that they gave her some of Marilyn's hair at the end, I don't know, Ripleys just really seems to lack the respect to deal with such artifacts, I think. I don't know. Anyway, I was really shocked with a lot of the hateful comments, but I did see some good comments on Instagram about it, so I just want to read you some of them. So a lot of people were laughing at the fact that in the video Kim showed that it didn't fit around her butt. And people like the Sugar Doll Swim, they posted a picture with Patrick screaming, "Why?" You know, that's not very nice, having the sort of crazy faces of, oh, she couldn't even zip it up. I don't think that's very nice. And Susie Kennedy also did quite a fair bit of bullying on there. She has the monkey hiding face here, again, sort of laughing at Kim. And Susie really disappointed me the most. And like I said, I personally don't think anyone should be wearing Marilyn's clothes. I don't know, I think it's such a special thing, and fabrics can be so delicate, and they're so many years ago, and they should be, you know, in glass cases treated so, you know, moths can't get to them and things like that, let alone just the way that the oils in our skin can treat them and things. But if anyone's going to wear them, I want them to be with respect, and someone Marilyn would respect. And she would not respect Susie Kennedy. And Susie Kennedy, she seems like a nice girl, and she is sort of the most famous and most popular impersonator of Marilyn. But the thing is, Marilyn hated impersonators, especially ones of her. She did not like them. She did not want them. So you're impersonating someone knowing they disagree with it, which, as a fan of Marilyn, I could never do that. You know, I think it's too disrespectful. But anyway, so someone reposted an image Susie Kennedy put up, and she's clearly wearing the dress that Marilyn wore in Some Like It Hot. And the article is like, Marilyn and me, and, you know, celebrating all that. But again, Marilyn would hate that. And our Marilyn Monroe official page said, bet you're not all moaning about Susie Kennedy. I do wonder if the uproar is because of who wore it more than anything. And I do think that has a huge part of it. And yeah, I'm not necessarily a fan of the Kardashians, but I certainly respect Kim Kardashian wearing Marilyn's clothes more than Susie Kennedy or other impersonators, because then Kim might just be ignorant or maybe not have as much respect around it. I don't know. I don't know how much of a fan Marilyn is. We've never really seen that before. I haven't watched the show, so if she's spoken about that, I don't know. We do know that people like Mariah Carey owns Marilyn's piano. That's different. That's fine. That's beautiful. I would love to own Marilyn's piano, you know. But to wear something, it's just so much more intimate. And yeah, I disagree with it. But yeah, it's true. I bet a bunch of people are not so upset of the dress. It's more because of who was wearing it. And Susie Kennedy, she also made fun of Britney in a way of when she was wearing brown stilettos, showing off her bikinis and things like that. People had a lot of issues with that. And no, I think you do you. Maybe they're super comfortable. Who knows? Anyway, Susie Kennedy put up those shoes with that dress. R.I.P. Britney's brown stilettos. They lost their title of worst shoe choice ever. But she would know she's wearing the pleasers, so not to alter the dress. Surely you'd prefer that. Surely you'd prefer somebody to wear ugly shoes and ruin such a historical dress. And then Susie Kennedy also did. Remember when Kim Kardashian said nobody wants to get off their ass and work anymore? Yet she couldn't even be bothered to get a new dress. #Met Gala. Oh please, women saying not to attack Kim Kardashian as women should stick together. This is a woman that has told young girls the way to success is sex tape, surgery, and then starvation to get another woman's dress. And with the eye roll, Met Gala, take a seat. I think that's nasty. I don't believe she's telling anyone to to have a sex tape. Surgeries, if they were honest about it, maybe, yeah. Certainly damaging to young girls in the way of body image, but attacking that because of a dress, I don't think that's good. And then she posted the video of Kim getting her Marilyn's hair, and she said, got Marilyn's hair, and first thing she says is literally gonna do some crazy voodoo shit. Like Susie wouldn't say something stupid like that, or just being so excited you'd be like, oh my god, I could Claire, no, you're not actually gonna do it. And then she posted the video of struggling to get it up her butt. This has to be a replica. No way the original can be pulled and tugged and still survive. And the shocked face. And then she also reposted that entire video and said, oh my god, and a crying face. The only saving grace is that this has to be a replica. Which it wasn't, we know it's not. There was no way the real one could be handled, being pushed, tugged, and stretched that way. It would have collapsed in dust. I know the real one. I saw it up close for months on tour when I was with it and sold in 2016. No one is hating on Kim Kardashian, but she is. That's why she's saying this, because she kept being called out on it. They're hating on a society that treats everything like trash. No respect for history of the dress. It's all about the gram, which is true. So I just found that interesting of, yeah, we shouldn't really be saying things like that. It's awful. And I know you know Kim's not going to see it, but still, just maybe we can stop hating on women's bodies. I don't know. It's just, anyway, back to more receipts. Just some things I want to point out. This is a good post that again our Marilyn Monroe official shared. They said, but in all honesty, although it's annoying for us fans, would Marilyn care? No, probably not. What she'd care about are the bullshit lies being made up about her, like the new Netflix documentary that just came out. Not that other celebrity is wearing a historic, now very expensive dress. Marilyn wasn't materialistic. I doubt this would have even mattered to her, and that brings some comfort at least, and I completely agree. She was not materialistic, she was quite kind. And personally, if anyone was going to wear a dress, I think Marilyn might have even approved of Kim, if she was still alive. Because the thing is, they were both seen by society as dumb sex pots, you know. And so Kim, with the sex tape coming up again, like somebody mentioned, that happened, you know, over 20 years ago, she might have had empathy for that, knowing, alright, she's trying to better herself, like Kim's trying to be a lawyer or something. Marilyn might have liked her. We don't know. And yes, Kim had a lot more privilege than Marilyn did, of such of, you know, wealthy parents that were actually around and things like that. But still, Marilyn might have been fine with it. It's us who's not. And I think that really needs to be considered. Got a wedding in August. Can someone tell me where I can grab these bad boys? And this is what I love. This is what I would really like to see. It's a picture of Billie at the last Met Gala, where she wore a dress inspired by Marilyn, and the hair inspired by Marilyn. That easy, soft, flowing sexual femininity. And it says, this is how you do it. Use influencers, get inspiration, not just throw money around to see what expensive dress you can buy. So yes, I think. And again, our Marilyn Monroe official has a really good post. I think I agree with them the most. And they wrote, just think, was it as bad as that Madonna shoot? Certainly not. Madonna was horrible and completely disrespectful. Was it as disrespectful? Yes, the dress is a piece of history, but does it affect Marilyns legacy or how we view Marilyn? No. So don't worry too much. It's fabric at the end of the day, and we as fans know that there were more important things to Marilyn than a dress she once wore. Completely agree. So, like, one thing that I said quite a few times, I replied to that saying, well said. Many fans are upset, but Marilyn may have even approved if she was still alive. She was kind and wasn't materialistic. She probably would have had empathy for Kim, like I said. I would have preferred Kim to be inspired by Marilyn, like Billie was last time, or to have a replica tailored to her so the colour complemented her own skin tone like the original did with Marilyn. But what's done is done. At least Kim only wore the original for a short time and did not alter it, and wore a replica for the sitting and eating in, because Ripleys would not allow her to wear the original. So that is that one saving grace. Now, fan page Marilyn Monroe Eater says, sure, between Mela, Summers and Madonna's photos last summer, surely this is the least worse. But personally, I think a piece of history has been ruined. I state that I love Kim Kardashian, but... And that's true. Some people angrily said, is this the same dress? Did she buy it? She's used it instead of keeping it in a display case. It's a crime. So there's also lots of people who don't know the truth and are just commenting a bunch of hate. People saying, what a joke, she didn't understand the importance of it. Someone said, I don't know, just because you can do something, it doesn't mean you should. I have very mixed feelings about the whole thing, honestly, which is true. Someone said if she really did understand the importance of it, she would respect it and never wear it. I just can't fucking believe we're heading to something that money buys fucking everything. And then another person said, the only thing I will say that isn't negative is that it's fascinating to see the dress in motion on a living being, and help me imagine how Marilyn's dress must have moved and looked in real life when she wore it. I wish Kim hadn't worn it though. And I think that's very important too. The fact that we have really good high definition cameras now, you can really see the jewels all over it moving and sparkling. So it was interesting in that aspect to see it. Don't be fooled thinking Kennedy had sex with Marilyn wearing that dress, because he didn't, which a lot of people thought was true. There was no room in that dress to do anything. How much of the iconic quality of the dress came from the bullshit spun by Slasher, Mela, Summers? Would it still be iconic? Not for the lies people built on Marilyn and her alleged affairs with the Kennedys. Just a thought. Exactly. Ripley's Believe It or Not wrote, the gown will be on display for a limited time at Ripley's Believe It or Not, Hollywood, starting Memorial Day weekend. And people replied, it's no longer iconic. And someone said, thank you for giving the beautiful dress life again. Most of us bringing back memories of how iconic Marilyn Monroe truly was. And thank you to Kim Kardashian for giving new generations the opportunity to see a piece of American history, which I think is important as well. Admiring Marilyn said, "I don't even want to see this dress in a museum after this," which is fair enough. Peanut Pixie wrote, which, she's such a lovely person, "There are some things that should be kept and stored, properly maintained, and never worn again. This was one of those pieces." Agree. Doesn't matter who it is, the dress is so valuable and so precious and so delicate. The fact that the rhinestones were pulled upwards to get it to fit onto her blew my mind. Anyone who deals with vintage fabric knows that one wrong move, especially with that type of fabric that this dress is made of, and it's over. True. Ripleys should be ashamed of themselves for the way that they deal with it. Absolutely awful. Someone said, "I cringe seeing them force the fabric and scrape those jewels. They have proven by themselves that they should not be allowed to own anything of historical value. Shameful." Agreed. I don't think she was even a fan before wanting to wear the dress. Mariah Carey has a piano and is a huge fan, but never heard of Kim being a fan. And then others replied, "She's done quite a lot of shoots of dressing as her. I don't know if she's a fan, but recently she mentioned she had a replica of the green dress she wore in the Oscars in 1962, so that's encouraging." Someone says, "Do you live in her closet? How would you even know? Kind of stupid of you to say." So there's lots of nastiness happening in the comments talking about it, and it's just not nice. It's such a divine, legendary moment in outfit. JFK was in Marilyn's presence. It's history, and now it's literally sitting next to Pete Davidson, which is true. A lot of people saying, "This person wore it better, this person wore it better." Just stop. People writing, "What else can I wear to shock the public? I hope it's a replica. I hate that she wore it." Someone said, "Sad to look at. What's next? Lincoln's hat, Marie Antoinette's dress, the Queen's jewels, Judy's sandals. Some things belong to museums, so the next generation could appreciate them as we did." Someone said, "Maybe she'll rent out the White House for a week as an Airbnb." Lots of nastiness. Harlow Boylesque says, "She wore the original on the red carpet, then changed into a replica of the dress for the rest of the night," which is good. "It doesn't even match her skin tone, so ruins the nude illusion completely. She could have totally got one made in her skin tone and it would have fitted perfectly. Marilyn didn't suffer so much for this talentless nobody to wear her clothes." That's a bit harsh. "This is ridiculous and feels like pop culture sacrilege. So hard to watch. They could have given this iconic dress to an actual modern day icon who was a singer also." My friend Tina Vintage Garb wrote, "They're wearing gloves. They wouldn't do that with a replica. It's the original, and that vintage is a lot more resilient than folks think, but I still don't agree with doing this." People doing a whole bunch of theories of they think it's the original. Someone replied, "They replied to my comment of sadness. They said it was no easy decision for us to do this, but Kim had such respect, etc., etc., and now it's a part of Marilyns' legacy to help introduce her to new generations." Tina replied, "I'm glad that they replied to you. I think her going and viewing the dress would have done that without risking the piece, but I personally am more bothered by the fake documentary and Blonde, which is just horrible." So yes, there's certainly more things to be angry about. I don't know. Gloom also had a lot of feelings about the dress and was talking about that, and she posted a few things on her stories, and she posted a picture of the dress and someone replied to it saying, "Isn't that the dress Kim wore in the Met Gala 2022? So they didn't know it was Marilyn's. So Gloom wrote, "This is another great reason to why I've left that dress alone." So yes, and Gloom shared a thing that says, "It was the last time the public saw Marilyn, which might not have helped the outcome of her case. The dress has a dark past, and it just seems cheap that Kim just wore it so she could say that she wore it and get a lot of attention. Some things should be left alone out of respect and left with that person. Just didn't like the whole thing." Gloom also shared an article that's highlighted that says, "When Monroe asked costume designer Jean-Louis to make a dress for her, she told him, 'I want you to design a truly historical dress, a dazzling dress that's one of a kind, a dress that only Marilyn Monroe could wear.'" And Gloom added, "And designed to be worn with no undergarments, to which we know Kim wore shapewear. Okay, I'm done with the subject, just relaying info." And then she said, "And people still just using her for a headline to make money. Give it a rest. Although another part of me sees it as honoring her, maybe that's just me being naive. I don't know. Lol, just take the subject so seriously since so inspired by her. I feel you. Been inspired by her for so long and really feel like a part of her is always around. Had to comment my feelings. I completely agree, and I think this is why I love Gloom so much. Nick Ryan shared the pulling of the dress, said, the cringe. Also putting it over her ass like that. I know some people might be like, it's just a dress. There's so much going on in the world, but I just love history and fashion and Marilyn and felt that I wanted to share my feelings tonight. Also, the dress owner's heavy breathing in the back. And Gloom shared, I'm inspired by her, but this was from House of CB and doesn't remind me of her dying, which is true. The original dress does remind a lot of fans of her dying because she died so soon after that, and that was the last thing we saw. I believe that's all the receipts. I have screenshots of other weird things. Yes, Irish MM Fan Club wrote, it's been nearly 24 hours and I wanted to do another post on this as I've calmed throughout the day. That's exactly why I've waited a little while. And I've heard reactions from all kinds. Men, women, fans of Marilyn, fans of Kim, costume designers, conservatives, and more. Conservationists and more. I've talked to loads of my Marilyn friends today too, and I've decided I'm going to keep calm and think of Marilyn. If Marilyn were here, what would she feel about this? I'm not sure she'd mind as much as people would think. As classic Hollywood women said earlier, to Marilyn, this was just another dress. After her death, it was found rumpled in a closet. Okay? Of course, in the years that have passed and the fact that she died soon after wearing it, its meaning has altered for fans. Not for her, for us. It feels personal to us, but I don't think it did for her. She asked for it to be made, but it was for her alter ego, Marilyn, not Norma Jean, who stepped out on that stage. Wear a capri pants or a warm sweater, that would be very personal. And I agree. Oh, I'm sorry, there's still more. I'm not a massive fan of people wearing stuff like this, but in general. But how many people do you think would have snapped up given the opportunity? Not me personally, but I know others would. While I don't agree with Ripleys allowing Kim to wear it, I'm content with the idea that Kim was respectful and knew the significance of the dress and the opportunity. I don't believe she would purposely have done anything to damage the dress, and I'm guessing Ripleys had a professional conservationist who knew what the dress could withstand. The upshot, I feel a lot better today than I did last night about all this. I don't think Kim deserves the volume of hate she's getting. I think people need to try and remember to be kind. She's just a human being after all. And I agree, Marilyn would not want all this hate being thrown around. So at the end of the day, maybe it is just a dress. It's important to us, but what would have been important to Marilyn? She would want us to be kind to each other, especially in these days where everything just feels so terrible and so dark. I honestly think she might have had empathy for Kim. She might have approved. Doesn't mean we have to, but I think it does mean we should have respect when dealing with other people and talking about things that are so passionate to us. So let's be kind and hopefully preserve the rest of Marilyn Monroe's things. Just my thoughts.